All right, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jesse, and I am with Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants. If you're joining us for the first time, and we do have some new groups today, we are all about bringing conservation, adventure, and science into classrooms around the world. November is especially exciting because November is our month entirely dedicated to conservation, a topic that's really close to my own heart, and one where we've had the chance to go all around the world to tell amazing stories of people worldwide. Earlier today, we were in Mozambique with Dominique Gonçalves. We've gone all across Canada for Fisheries and Oceans Canada programs today. And right now, we're about to dive in with a talk that I've been excited about for some time. So we're joined live in the UK by Ardian, and he is going to talk to us today about some of the amazing work he's had the chance to do in Indonesia. It's one of the most biodiverse and amazing places in the world. It's got some of the coolest and most unique creatures on Earth. And specifically, we're going to focus on one of my favorite things on the planet, the Komodo dragon. It's just a primeval reptile straight from the age of dinosaurs that lasted all this time. So we've got some really cool opportunities to talk about, again, the Komodo dragon, what conservation work is being done in Indonesia, and Ardian's efforts generally to protect wildlife in such a unique place. So Ardian, come on in, man. Thank you so much for joining us today. Demute your mic and take us away.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi, everyone. So it's a pleasure to be here. So I'm speaking now, yes, actually?
Yeah, you're perfect.
So should I show my presentation now?
Go for it. Bring it up and we'll
okay. This is... I cannot see the guys here.
I know you can't see us, but we're here. We promise not to leave.
You're not leaving me, right? Okay, cool.
No,
Can you see my Can you see my presentation now?
Yep, it's perfect. You're all set, man.
Okay, cool. Okay. Hi, everyone. So it's a pleasure actually to be here. So my name is Ardian. My full name, as you can see, is actually kind of like Spanish name, and it's only like have one name, which is like pretty common in my country, but not so much in other country. And today I would like to share my story actually in searching for the dragons of the East. Before that, I want to introduce you to Indonesia, the country where I live. Although now I'm in the UK now for studying. So Indonesia is actually like the biggest archipelago country in the world, where we have like so many diversity, the culture, the food. If you come to Indonesia, find the food. We have like so many delicious food, but it's quite spicy, if you want to say. If you can stand spicy food, so it's a perfect place for you. And for the wildlife, Indonesia has so many exciting wildlife. We have tigers, we have rhino, elephants, and orangutans. And the one that I'm going to talk to you today is actually like, again, same with Jess, one of my most favorite animals in the world. So now, before I get into the next slide, maybe Jess can help me with this one. Can you please unmute the classes, because I want to hear the class, so it's not really awkward for me. So I have a question actually for you guys, like, please say it loudly. Yes, if you like dinosaur.
Okay, what do you think? I think we're getting a lot of yeses. We're getting a lot of feedback too, but we are getting a lot of yeses.
Yes, so everyone loves dinosaur. Perfect. So I can continue my presentation. Cool. So I'm a big fan of dinosaur. So when I started my study in biology, actually the first animal that I want to study is crocodile, because they look like dinosaur and they are just cool. That's only the reason. But I didn't make it. I cannot study the crocodile in the end because of some reason. Actually, the main reason is because I cannot swim. So if you want to study aquatic animal, but you cannot swim, it's kind of a bit tricky. So in the end, fortunately, I'm studying another crocodile, not the water one, but the land crocodile. The Komodo dragons, the largest lizard in the world, the living fossil, the real dragon of the East, where you can only find in the middle part of Indonesia. And most of them you can see inside Komodo National Park, which is, for me, is the most beautiful places in the world, where you can see the wild Komodo roaming around in their home. So it's very exciting, and Maybe you're wondering like why I ended up studying Komodo dragon and working with the dragons. It's actually a long story, so we're gonna come back into my memory. So this is happening in a long, long time when we had a normal time. It's actually in 2013 when I was young. It's so different. I feel so old now, and you were young also. So in this year, actually, like I started my internship, and my internship is actually trying to understand more about the ecology of Komodo dragons. And before I went to the national park is actually the island that far, far away. So I went to the city called Labuan Bajo. It's kind of like the gate. So you need to take a boat about 2 or 3 hours to the national park. So this is a funny story because I think I kind of ready to go to the national park because I have seen a lot of the picture in the internet. But man, I was so wrong because like when I arrive and I see the national park by my eyes, it's amazing. It's kind of like you getting into the lost world. And in this place where you can find the wild Komodo dragons. So the dragon is actually live in the savanna and also in the forest. My first day in the national park is actually going to the forest. And my friend told me that uh, you kind of hard to find the dragons in the forest. So maybe after 2 or 3 days, you can find your first dragon. So I was a bit prepared for that. But I first found my dragons is actually in the first hour of our trip in the forest. And this is my first encounter. I was actually like so excited, so I shook my camera so much. But like I must say, this is such an unusual encounter. And I must say that not many people can say their first encounter with Komodo dragon is actually seeing a dragon fighting with wild pig to eat a deer. So I not only see a dragon, but I also see dragon fighting over a food. It's such an exciting experience, and it's just like my first encounter with Komodo dragon. So it's really exciting. And what we are doing actually like inside the national park for my internship. So I was staying there for a month, and I come back again next year to do my thesis research. So we kind of like trying to understand if you want to protect the dragons, you must understand the dragons. So we kind of like trying to explore the ecology of the dragon. We asking like where are they, how many, what is their food, and how do they behave. So I have involved in so many exciting activities. So the first thing that we did is population monitoring. One of them that you can do is actually camera traps. Maybe you heard about that. It's basically you set a camera to the tree and you put a metal box and also a plastic. You cannot really see the plastic here, but it should be like around up there. So I show you the illustration. So what actually like inside the plastic and the box is a goat meat. So Komodo dragons really relying on their smelling to find food. So what we are doing here is like we put a goat meat inside the plastic and the box. We leave it for a couple days so the meat will get rot and it will produce such a strong and bad smell that will attract the dragons. So when the dragon comes, the camera will take a picture of the dragon like this. Well, actually, it's not only the dragon. You can also usually find wild pig coming and trying to steal the box, which is so annoying because they're also interested with the meat inside the box. Now, the other thing that we are doing is actually the trapping. It's kind of like a camera trapping, but like it's more intensive because if you see this one box weigh about 20 pounds, so it's quite heavy. And you set a trap. In one trap, you put like 3 boxes. So you put a meat also, the goat meat inside. So when the Komodo dragon come inside the trap and they eat the meat, the trap will close. And after that, we come twice a day to check if we found a dragon. We tie them up and we also do a measurement. So we want to know their length, their weight, and also their body condition. This one is actually like very heavy. It's about 100 pounds. So it took like 3 of us to lift the dragon. And usually all of this measurement took only about 10 minutes. And after that, we released the Komodo dragon. So they are doing fine. So the fact is actually Komodo dragon can grow like very large. They can reach like more than 3 meters and they can weigh more than 100 kilograms or 200 pounds. This one, the big one, the fat one, is actually the largest dragon that I ever seen in my life. And I do believe like this one, this guy weighs more than 200 pounds. Wow, that's big. And why we are doing the population monitoring, why we set the camera, why we trap the dragon is actually we want to know where they are. By doing that, we can see in this green area is the place where you can find the Komodo dragon. By doing the trapping, you can know how many dragons now inside, for example, in Komodo National Park. And for your information, they are doing well because they are well protected by the rangers. But how about like in other places like Flores, the main island, where you have like like large human population? We don't really know, and we like still figuring out how many Komodo dragon in that area. So another interesting thing about Komodo dragon is like basically they can eat everything. Every meat, I mean, they don't eat fruits though. And three main prey of Komodo dragon is actually the deer, the pig, and also the buffalo. Yes, they can eat buffalo, and how they do that is actually like they bite the buffalo. So, and after that, they leave the buffalo for a couple days. So the wound will get infected, and the buffalo getting weak. And after it dies, the Komodo dragon will come and eat the buffalo. In one case, it's usually like you can find more than 10 or 20 Komodo dragons like eating a buffalo together in one place in one time. So that's like a very amazing experience and like sighting if you are lucky to see that. Another interesting fact about Komodo dragon is like because they can eat everything, they also eat each other. So Komodo is cannibal actually. So they eat the smaller dragon. And why they do that is because Komodo dragon want to reduce the competition. If you have so many dragon in one location, so there will be a competition over like a limited food resources. So the large one will eat the younger one. So the younger one won't grow into another large dragon and compete with the older Komodo dragon. So it's kind of like evolutionary mechanism, which is like already developed in their gene, which is like very, very cool. Now, the next thing is actually the behavior. If you want to answer like how they behave towards human, toward us. It's a dangerous animal. They can attack human. For fact, the wild one, actually, they are shy and they are afraid of us. So if they see us in the forest, they will run away. But like in one places where they find us, they see us like very often, like in the tourism area, they become habituated or they are not afraid of human anymore. So in like in these places, the tourists can see the Komodo dragon in a closer distance and they just don't care. So in this, like actually in the last 2 years, in 2013 and 2014, I actually like did a lot of ecological research. And with that, I graduated from my undergraduate. Yay, I got my bachelor. But again, after the graduation, actually like my passion with Komodo dragon is growing up. So in this stage, I don't want to like only understand the dragon, but I want to contribute more to conserving the Komodo dragon in their habitat. This one, the small one, is actually a small Komodo dragon. It's about like less than 1 year old. So they look very colorful. They look yellowish. So it's very different with the big one. If you see, the big one is just like a stone. They just looks gray. Now, if we're talking about the conservations, actually, in the national park, they are doing well because they are well protected by the ranger. But like in the mainland Flores, you have like a lot of human, a lot of cities and villages. So it's not common. It's not uncommon to see a Komodo dragon getting conflict with people. So this one, this dragon is actually like he comes to the village trying to take the livestock, and after that ended up like clashing with the local people. Why these cases is actually happen? Because we found like triple threat or triple pressure to Komodo dragon population, especially in the Flores Island. The first one is the prey hunting, so less food for the Komodo dragon. The second and third one is actually habitat loss. So people build more villages, more paddy field. They sometimes burn the savanna. So Komodo dragon live in the savanna and also the forest. So by this human pressure, their home is getting reduced more and more over time. So what we are doing here is like we want to try how we could like find the best way for local people and also for the Komodo dragon to coexist, to live together in harmony. What we are doing is actually talking with the people. We want to listen to them because they are the one who living with the Komodo dragon. They know how it feels like, and we want to know what they think about Komodo dragons. And after that, we also share our knowledge through awareness programs. So we talk with students, we talk with local people, we talk more about the ecology of Komodo dragons that we already know quite a lot. But we also want to hear what people think about protecting the Komodo dragons and what is the best way to find and achieve the coexistence. And during this awareness, my friend Puspita and Chacha made such a great storybooks about Komodo dragons. So it's basically a story about how people and Komodo dragon get into conflict, and after that they understand each other and they live happily ever after. And we have like such a beautiful illustration of this storybook, and we printed this book and we give it to children in the forest, and they love it so much. So in the last 5 years, actually, I would say like I have involved with Komodo dragons, but like my journey actually is not only about the dragons. I learned so much from this experience. So I got to make a friendship with the local people, usually children. I don't know why I play a lot with children. I get to know a lot about local culture also. If you see this one, it's actually a traditional dance called chachi, where two warriors like dancing and fighting each other. It's a very cool local culture. And the best thing of working with Komodo dragon is actually you could stay and live here in one of the most beautiful places in the world. So this is the Komodo village inside the Komodo National Park, where I lived for a month, and I love it so much. And all of my journey is actually like won't happen and impossible without the support of all of these people, especially people from Komodo Survival Program. I really recommend you, if you're interested with dragon, check their website. They have so many cool stuff inside. And they are the one, actually, if you're asking me who's the expert of Komodo dragons, that they are my inspiration, they are my friends, and they are the one who brings me to where I am now. And actually, I would say like I'm not really working with Komodo dragon directly now because like I'm studying in UK. But the reason why I'm telling you a story about Komodo dragon is because like they are my first love, and they are the one who make me believe like I'm doing the right way and bring me to this stage right now as a conservation scientist that's sharing my experience to you guys. So that's all about my story. If you want to keep in touch, you can send me an email, or like you can send me a chat like to my Instagram. Although you might find my only a picture of me sleeping everywhere. And if you want to see like cool picture or videos about Komodo dragon, I really recommend you to visit my friends' Instagram. And I really hope that you enjoy my story. And in the end, I really wish someday, after we had a normal day again, all of you will be able to come to my country, Indonesia, go to the Lost World, and finally seeing by your eyes the dragon of Indonesia. Thank you.
Ardian, that was
Hey,
awesome, man. If you want to end your screen share so you can see us again,
yes,
we'd love you to check us out. Hey,
hello.
seriously, that was like the most enthusiastic presentation we may have ever had in the history of Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants. So thank you for sharing all that with us.
Oh,
And truly, you talk about going to Indonesia, and one thing that's nice for us is we work with people all around the globe. And when we ask people, what's your favorite place to visit? What's the most beautiful place to visit? Everyone universally says Indonesia. It's the only country that we've ever talked to that's been there always includes in their list. So it's an incredible place, and you certainly highlighted that today. So thank you so much.
Perfect. Come.
Yeah. I'll be there as soon as I can. So we've got 57 plus groups on YouTube. So welcome into all of them. It's crazy. We got hundreds of kids today. For everyone on YouTube, let me know where you're joining from. We'd love to share your questions. What we're going to do to start is go to Miss Foster's class in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. If you guys want to come and start us off, go for it, man.
What's up, Jesse? So, I have a question. What laws or rules are intact to make sure the species is preserved or kept safe, like not endangered?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, can you repeat that one again? I cannot hear the beginning of the question.
No problem, Ardian. What he wanted to know is what laws are in place? Like, what are people doing in Indonesia to protect the Komodo dragon? Are there laws? Are there restrictions? Things that we're doing to make sure that the species survives?
Yes. Thank you for the question. It's a very good question, actually. So, Komodo dragon actually listed and protected species in our Indonesian law. So they are really well protected. They also protected in IUCN red list for threatened species. So I would say for Komodo dragon, especially they are receiving a lot of attention because they are well known globally. So the government really put the best effort to protect the dragon. So some activities that have been done to protect the dragon, actually, we have a ranger patrol, especially inside the national park. So they every day they travel around the national park just to make sure that there is no poacher, there is no people trying to hunt the dragon or hunt the prey. There are no people that trying to accidentally burn the savanna and all of this stuff. So the protection inside the national park is good, but in main island of Flores, actually, it's kind of tricky because most of the Komodo dragon distribution is outside the protected area. So there's not really there's no ranger that are located to protect them in that area. What we are doing right now is actually we propose a new conservation area. So the Komodo dragon in Flores Island will be well protected in the future.
Yeah,
that's a really good question.
It's a great question, and you highlighted something that I think is really, really important to talk about with conservation, that it comes down to, in many cases, just being diligent, to have those ranger patrols, to have those fire patrols. So in many places around the world, species are in danger because there aren't people being paid to do that in a serious way. So Komodo dragons are lucky because they're internationally recognized. They're like a panda or a tiger, where there's so much investment and the animals are worth much more alive than they are dead. And so you have this sort of support. So again, check out komododragon.org. It's the program Ardian was talking about. Amazing stuff. And money goes a long way in Indonesia and Komodo especially. So if there's programs you want to donate for, maybe for Christmas, there's some really, really, your work will go a long way in Komodo to help protect such an amazing species. So great question, Ms. Foster's class. Mr. Shattuck, if you guys want to come up now, Mr. Shattuck's class is joining us in Chalk River, Ontario. Come on up, guys.
Hi, I would like to know how long Komodo dragons have been around.
Yeah, how long have they been around?
That's a good question, actually. Komodo dragon has been living in Indonesia actually for quite a long time. I think 100 years ago, the ancestor of Komodo dragon coming from Australia. So they are not only endemic in Indonesia, but they actually come from from Australia to Flores Island, to Komodo National Park, and after that they just live there and become isolated and stay for a while and become a species that we call Komodo dragons. How long they've been there, I don't really know, actually. That's the homework. Maybe you can find out about that. I should check that one.
You can check.
I already make a note.
We're getting a question. No, that's great. And I mean, those are questions are hard to answer because sometimes you need to go very far back in the fossil record to understand the origins of certain species. But one thing I will tell our classes, which is super cool, one of my favorite things I've ever learned about nature, is Flores, the big island that Ardian's been talking about. Flores used to have a really tiny species of human. Some people have called them the hobbit before. Yeah. So the tiny species of human would either hunt or be hunted by bigger versions of Komodo dragons that used to live there. So literally in the annals of human evolutionary history, there were moments where we were fighting giant reptiles that were much bigger than us, which is the closest we've ever come to fighting dinosaurs, which is pretty rad. So
yeah,
I'm glad we got that question.
Yeah. one fact also, like, because Jess told me about that, it's really interesting. In the Flores, they have like, before, a long time ago, they have like a dwarf elephant.
Yeah.
The reason why Komodo dragon can grow that big, actually, like one of his hypotheses said, like, maybe they're trying to hunt the dwarf elephant. So that's the reason. Usually you don't find like a big animals inside like in a small island like that. But because they have such a big prey, so they need to grow bigger and bigger.
Yeah. Super cool. Island evolution is like the coolest thing.
Yeah.
Let's go to Ms. Becker's class. They're joining us in San Diego. I always love when we go to San Diego.
Hey.
I'm just coming to you guys, so come on up and share a question.
Good morning. Yes, we're virtual, so my students are at home, and I apologize for the dot cam technology. My students are laughing now because who knows what this is a picture of? I don't know. But we did want to know what would be one ancestor of the Komodo dragon?
Yeah. Actually, it's the ancestor of Komodo dragon will come from Australia. There's like a new study that said, like, after they studying the fossil records, they found a fossil that resembled the Komodo dragon so much. I kind of forgot the Latin name of that species, but like, yeah, it's from Australia, and they immigrate into Indonesia, and after that they speciate into Komodo dragons.
Yeah. If I'm pretty sure this is the answer. Don't quote me on this, but I'm almost positive it's Megalania, which is the bigger one that's in Australia.
That one.
There we go.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Monitor lizards are often found in Australia. The Komodo dragon is one of the rare ones that's outside of Australia. You have a lot of goannas. Basically, if you saw The Crocodile Hunter or Steve Irwin when you were younger, covered a lot of amazing monitor lizards. So check out Megalania when you're done. They're the big ones. All right, let's go to Mr. Resident's class. They're joining us in Hamilton, right down the street from me here in Toronto. If you have any questions, come on up.
Come. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Moses, ask a question.
So why are they called dragons?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I think actually it comes from a long time ago in from the colonial. So the colonial from Dutch, actually, like when they first come and see the dragon, they said Komodo as a Komodo dragons. I think that's just like kind of like a name that they make to make it like more popular, and also our government kind of like it. We kind of like it, so we kind of use it quite a lot because dragon is something interesting. And maybe like if you want to know, there's like interesting fact. So Komodo actually is not only the name of the lizard of the species. So Komodo also the name of an island, a village, an ethnicity, and also a language. So I think Komodo dragon, they use that. It's kind of like trying to distinguish between the culture, the people, the island. And they said that Komodo dragons. Yeah. It's a really interesting question.
It is an interesting question. When you can call something a dragon and get away with it, you might as well. I mean, it's such a great title.
Yeah, I like dragon.
We're going to go back to all our live classes in a minute, but I want to take this question from Miss Wu's class joining us in Houston. So Miss Wu has spent all day with us here at Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants. So I'm thankful that she keeps coming back. Do Komodo dragons eat their own young, since you mentioned that they eat each other? Do they eat their babies or not?
That's a really good question. The answer is like we don't know yet. So the thing is like this. The female, actually, after they laying their egg, they're gonna guard their nest, her nest for about 5 months. And after that, she left. And after the next 4 months, actually it's 9 months from the eggs until they hatch. So 4 months, like the female is just gone. We don't have any proof yet whether the female eat their own like children, their own young. We don't know yet. I think we need to do genetic study to make sure about that. But like one thing for sure, the larger Komodo dragon kinda like the small one. I think they really like small Komodo dragon as their food. I don't know why.
I mean, they do look delicious, I must say. No,
yeah.
That's a good question, though, and a lot of animals. This is something that's, we're mammals, so we have really, really intense parental care. We wouldn't think about eating babies. A lot of birds are in a similar situation, but with reptiles, with amphibians, with fish, in many cases, the young are born, they're born elsewhere, and they just go on their own devices. And so they're as much of a food source as other things. Good question.
That's also like a really interesting, because there's the cool thing about Komodo dragons. So when they hatch, they come out from their nest, they just run straight away to the tree and climb. There's kind of like a evolutionary mechanism where they're trying to avoid a larger Komodo dragon. So they just run away. And if they see the large one, they just go.
Yeah. So when you go to Komodo, when you can all go as classmates when this is all done, look into trees for giant lizards, because that can actually happen there. It's very cool.
Yeah.
All right, Miss Foster's class, come on back up and go for it.
Hello.
Has climate change affected where the Komodo dragons live, what they eat, etc.?
Nice.
Yes, that's a really good one. Actually, like I just read like a new publication talking about the impact of climate change. Let me tell you something. Komodo dragon actually, like, they are very easy to adapt with changing in their environment. So if climate change happen, the Komodo dragons, for me, I think they're gonna do fine. The thing is, like, if climate change happen, what happen would be like the coastal area will sink, but like the Komodo dragon can move to the mountains, so they kind of like have a lot of places to go. They have like a lot of savanna, and they can live in the forest. And as long as they have food, which means like the buffalo, the pig, and also the deer, which is like we think also will adapt well with climate change. So I think they're gonna be fine.
Yeah,
that's a really good question.
It is a really good question. It's heartening to hear a creature that isn't going to be, certainly in your estimation, affected too much. Climate change is affecting so many creatures around the globe. We talked about this earlier in Mozambique as well, where it's having a big impact. And so an area that is, where it's not going to have as big an impact is good to know. Thank you, Ardian.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Shadid's class, come on.
Hello.
Hi,
Hi.
I was wondering how long their tongue can get.
How
long their tongue can get, Ardian?
The pumpkin?
Their tongue, yeah, their tongue.
How long?
Yes.
Oh, I never measured it actually, but like, let's see. I'm trying to remember. I think it's about like this. Let's see, it's 20 centimeters. Yeah. And they like have a yellow tongue, which is like really interesting. So actually, like, if you want to know whether the Komodo dragon looking for food or not, you can see their tongue. If they like just lick, like, what do you call it? Just like that, like a lot of time, it's usually like they smell something nice and they're looking for the food. Yeah, that's an interesting question. I'm not expecting that.
That was an unexpected question. Thank you for that.
I love it.
This is a fun presentation. All right, let's go to Mr. Whaling's class. So they're on YouTube, and then we're going to go to Miss Becker's again in a minute. So Mr. Whaling's class, they want to know what the current population is of Komodo dragons, and is it predicted to go up or down?
Yes, so we kind of like have a good population estimate from Komodo National Park, because we have done, actually my friends have done like a population monitoring since 2002, so it's almost 20 years now. The population trend is like quite stable, but they have kind of like a bit increasing, so we still say like stable and increasing. They are doing well because they are well protected, but like in Flores Island, we don't really know about the population yet, because we just started the survey for like in the last 3 years. But like, it's kind of interesting. We might know the population in the mainland, where we have like a lot of human pressure in maybe in the next couple of years.
Yeah. One thing that's worth noting, though, is that it's not a very high population. It's in the low thousands, maybe above 10,000 in the whole of Indonesia. So it's not an animal that there's hundreds of thousands of or millions of. It is a top predator, and as with all top predators, there are fewer of them than there are that prey. Yeah. So this is something that's really worth protecting, really worth understanding, and getting that sort of information. So I'm glad we got that question.
Cool.
Ms. Becker, I'm coming to you in a minute. Ardian, I want to clear up something personally. So when I was much younger, everyone talked about all the bacteria that were in Komodo dragons' mouths. And then about 10 years ago, they said, nope, it's not bacteria, it's venom. They actually have venom. So can you tell us a little bit about this and how Komodo dragons kill their prey? What's going on in their mouth?
Yes. So basically, Komodo dragon have bacteria and also have venom.
Yeah.
So the venom actually like prevent the blood, what do you call it? Like the blood clotting?
Yeah.
Yeah, prevent the blood clotting. And the bacteria, if you leave the wound for a couple days, I think that's what's happened with like a scavenger, because they have like a very nasty mouth. So the bacteria will infect the wounds. But like here's the thing, actually, Komodo dragons, like why they attack like very deadly for the prey, actually not because of the bacteria, not because of the venom, but it's more about the wound that they make. So their teeth is kind of like this one. And they have like a serrated teeth. It's kind of like a chainsaw, so it's not like smooth. So when they bite their prey, they just like stretch it out. So what usually happens is like the prey dies because of the blood loss.
Yeah.
Not because of the infected of the bacteria or like the venom. So we should take care more about that.
Definitely try and avoid a dragon bite. I was trying to find, there's a BBC series like Planet Earth, which a lot of our students might know, that has a Komodo dragon hunt in the episode. It's one of the coolest things captured on film. So I'll try and find that for our classes when we're done.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for clearing that up. All right, Miss Becker's class, back to San Diego with your weird camera. Go for it.
Sorry about that. I'm taking a combination of the students. So the reptiles, we know that they're cold-blooded, but why are they only in Indonesia now? Why haven't, if they came from Australia years ago, how have they migrated or have they had opportunity to go other places besides Indonesia? Is this the last stop?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. Like, I think we still have limited information why they are coming from Australia to Flores, for example. One hypothesis would say like because of the prey. So why Komodo dragon like live in the, like you can find them in the Flores because like in a long history before, they have dwarf elephant, which is like the main prey of Komodo dragons. And now in the Flores Island and Komodo National Park, you can find like enough prey for them, but like not so much in other places in Indonesia. So for example, in Java, Bali, other islands, you don't really have that much prey. And also like the climate is kind of different. So because Komodo dragon already get used to dry and hot climates, so they will like restrict it into the Flores Islands.
Yeah. One thing that's worth noting, if our classes look on a map when we're done, so Indonesia is many islands. It's an archipelago, but there's a split between two islands called Bali and Lombok, which is a really deep channel. So on one side of that, all that landmass, all that bit of Indonesia, New Guinea used to be attached to Australia, and all the area on the other side used to be attached to Asia. So there's very different animals on both sides of this sort of channel that's deeper, that never got too shallow. And so the animals would have come up from Australia, gone to these islands, and then as the sea level rose, the animals got blocked off. And so all the places where the Komodo dragon lives now are all really close islands to one another, where they could actually probably swim between the islands. So
they
it's
can.
Really cool question. So thank you so much.
They can swim. Yeah.
Yeah, as if you're swimming along and suddenly there's this 10-foot lizard beside you. It's very unnerving, very unexpected. The residence class, if you guys want to come on up for one more question, go for it.
Yes, we have Zainab here, one of our students.
Hey, Zainab.
Hello.
Are all the nails the same size?
Are all the, what's the same size?
The nails.
The males. Sorry, say that again, Mr. Resident?
The nails on the claws.
The nails. Oh, okay. The nails on the claws. Are they all the same size?
The claws. I have touched the nail at the claws actually. I think they are in the same size.
One of those like tricky ones. See,
well, it's a good question. Like I will ask my friend when they measure the dragon. I will ask about that.
Okay, and if you get the answer, I'll pass it along to the class.
Okay.
Very cool. Guys, we're almost done. We're almost ready to wrap up here. So I want to see if there's any questions on YouTube. I know time flies and we're having fun, Ardian. I love it. Student, you guys have a guy right at the camera, so go on up and ask away.
So, what are some factors that can potentially change the behavior of the Komodo dragon?
That's interesting. So, there's like so many behavior of Komodo dragon, but I would say like the presence of humans, so human activities actually really change the behavior. That's one actually like the one that I study for my internship. So the one, if they see a lot of humans, they will become habituated and they are not afraid of humans. A long time ago in Komodo National Park, they also have a feeding. So this feeding is actually like trying to attract Komodo dragon in one place where they just like hang a goat. So a lot of Komodo dragon will come and eat the goat. So that kind of changed the behavior of Komodo dragon also, because like they become kind of habituated, and also like they become, we would say like they become a bit lazy. So they don't really like hunting. They don't really hunt the wild prey anymore. They kind of like relying on the food giving for the tourism actually. So yeah, food and human activities actually can change the behavior of Komodo dragons. That's a good one.
Great question, guys. Yeah, you guys have been awesome today. All right, Mr. We're going to wrap up with one more from you guys, because I know you got a student right off. Go for it.
Hello.
I'm wondering how strong can their jaw force can get?
Yeah.
I don't have the scale. So one thing for sure, Komodo dragon jaws, like their bite is like not as strong as crocodile. Yep. But they are strong. So like my friend, like actually like he had an experience where he broke like a goat, a live goat, and like Komodo dragon just suddenly come and bite the goat, and they try to pull the Komodo dragons from the goat. They cannot do that. They have to hit the dragon to make it like release the bite. So that's very strong. I think they said like it's about 3 of them trying to pull a dragon from the goat, and they cannot make it until they have to hit the dragon. So they're strong.
I was just looking this up. This is really interesting. So comparatively, compared to something like a crocodile, like Ardi mentioned, Komodo dragons actually have a fairly weak bite. It's much stronger than ours, and the animal's way stronger than a person. But compared to something like a big crocodile or a shark, less than you'd expect. So cool question, guys. Yeah, this has been so much fun. So what I want to do now, Ardian, again, is for everyone who's tuning in live or on YouTube, check out komododragon.org when you're done. You'll learn way more about the amazing creature. You'll see some incredible pictures. And if you're keen to donate to help conserve such an incredible species, there's options to do that on the website. We always like to highlight that for conservation here. What I want to do now, Ardian, is there one last message you want to share with us about Komodo dragons, about your own work, about how people can conserve them? Anything you'd like to wrap us up with?
Yeah, thank you, Jess. So it's really such a pleasure for me to talk with you guys, and I really hope you enjoy it. So I would say, like, if you have a passion, like for me, like I have a passion with Komodo dragons. Like I have a passion in conserving wildlife. I really enjoy what I'm doing, and it's really like bringing me to the point where I am now. So do something that you really love, and you will find a way that can bring the best of your life. So enjoy your life.
Enjoy your life. We couldn't have a better last message than that. Ardian, this was so much fun, man. I will certainly be. I'm looking forward to sharing more stories with you and making some cool stuff happen.
Thank you for having me.
What we do at the end of every broadcast, I'm going to bring in all our classes. So Ms. Foster, Mr. Shattuck, and Mr. Rezigen, if you want to join me saying, guys.